This video is brought to you by Figgies. Stay tuned until the end of the video to hear more. The year is 2012. I was just gifted a brand new iPad. I see a little TV icon on my home screen called YouTube. Random people like me creating videos about whatever they wanted to talk about, do whatever they wanted to do, create whatever they wanted to create. And with my bedroom looking like this at the time, I knew exactly what to type in to my iPad. 5 letters. SONIC.
Hey, what's up everyone? KobanRonnie456 here.
What is up guys, Matt the owner of Tails channel here.
What's up guys, PipLipFan77 here.
Hello everybody, you know me as Sonic Toast.
Hello everyone and welcome to my fuck you Sega run of Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Hi there guys and welcome to the Sonic Show.
Ooba dooba!
Let's go to the beach!
We're gonna tell you about the Shuttle 759 channel.
Hello guys, it is Steven X here.
Yo, Tails! Long time no see!
It's me, SuperSonic Speed 10, and I am making my first video on YouTube.
Yep, that's me, SpeedSuperSonic, on January 1st, 2013 at the ripe age of 10 years old. Around this age, I was obsessed with Sonic the Hedgehog content on YouTube. I couldn't get enough of it. Watching KobanRonnie456 Let's Plays, or stop motions by PipLipFan77, becoming envious of people's collection videos, waiting for a Tails channel notification like a hawk, or random adventures people would take their Sonic plushes on. I'm truly a student of this. At this time, Sonic YouTube was already a large and vast space, and as I'm sure you guys know, it hasn't stopped. And neither have I. Sonic YouTubers, or Sonic Tubers as it's been coined by the fan base,
Sonic Tubers.
Sonic Tubers.
Sonic Tubers.
whether you like it or not, are the biggest, most influential people in the entire community. YouTube has been around for 20 years now. That's not only a long time for a platform, that's a long time for Sonic fans to bring their voices, talents, and creations to it. It's kind of insane that there's not really a video on YouTube talking about the impact of, well, Sonic YouTubers. It could be because everybody hates each other and doesn't want to give each other their flowers, but as someone who's relatively disconnected from the rest of the community, I don't think there's a better person to give you the history of Sonic tubers than myself, Sonic Twitter's favorite.
Oh brother, this guy stinks!
And that's right, we're talking about all of it. We're talking about the Christopher Columbus of Sonic YouTube. That might actually have bad connotations nowadays. Animation channels, stop motion channels, plush channels, the discussion / personality based channels. This is 20 years of history, so get ready.
Grab yourself a snack and a glass of orange juice.
Because we're going to be going in extensive detail about the weird world of Sonic the Hedgehog YouTubers. Question 1 coming to, I'm sure a lot of your guys' brain is, well, who's the first Sonic YouTuber? Now, the first ever Sonic YouTube video was a trailer for Shadow the Hedgehog, just titled Shadow the Hedgehog, uploaded in September of 2005. The channel's name is Sonic7X, and they would go on to post more trailers for Sonic Rush and Sonic 06, or as they title it, Sonic Next Gen, which is one of the many names that 06 was referred to during its pre-release era, but by no means is this a quote-unquote Sonic tuber. I'm sure some might want to qualify this individual as the first Sonic tuber, as they do have a Sonic-based channel with a profile picture and majority of their content featuring Sonic, but with this channel only uploading trailers and then going on to release fight videos of children and not being active in 12 years, this is not a Sonic tuber. This is just a channel that so happened to release a few Sonic the Hedgehog trailers on their channel. So who is the first real Sonic tuber? That is none other than Sonic Toast. Sonic Toast is a YouTube channel that was created by Matthew Piper in September of 2006, with his very first video being called Sonic is Total Immortal, which essentially is just an AMV featuring the song Total Immortal off the Me, Myself, and Irene soundtrack, which is a Jim Carrey movie, and if this isn't Mitt Romney walking in front of a Trump plane after losing the 2012 election levels of foreshadowing, I don't know what is. It would then mainly go on to upload a bunch of stop-motion animations, primarily featuring Sonic characters using Resource action figures from their Sonic Adventure line. If you were to go back and look at these uploads, they were all released in drops essentially, sometimes 3, maybe even more than that uploads a day. And this is because Sonic Toast was making these stop motion animations long before YouTube ever existed. Originally doing really rough stop motion animations using Star Wars figures with his friends as a kid, he fell in love with that medium of storytelling. Once when Toy Biz and Resource respectively released their Mario and Sonic figures, he would go on to tell stories using them. He made these throughout middle school and high school, either for school projects or just being able to show them to his brother and his friends. This was also around around the time that Sega went third party, and as a reaction he made the Sonic and Mario 2-part series. Now all these 2 videos are only a little over 11 minutes long in total. These were some of your essential Sonic videos from back in the day. It's honestly a kind of depressing 2-parter with commentary on Sonic's dwindling popularity at the time, and how the general gaming public was giving up on the franchise. It depicts Mario as this evil crime boss who wants to see Sonic die, and Sonic tries to kill himself, but has a sip of a Capri Sun and finds a new spirit for life. So yes, in only a matter of a few months, not only did Sonic Toast create the AMV Sonic community, but also the stop motion community. But not just that, he also was the first ever person to upload a Sonic plush video onto the platform called Knuckles Wanted Brownies. The video is just pure something that you would find on a 6-year-old's iPad, but it is so great. He would go on to create even more iconic stop motion videos like the new Sonic the Hedgehog show, which would run for around 4 episodes. The show was originally intended to be a variety series, which is where we get stuff like this.
Shadow, a shadow, would you like an avocado?
They just don't make them like this anymore, man. We continue to upload collection videos, action figure reviews, this classic video where he threw a Sonic birthday party in his office. Just, how is there anybody who's more dedicated than this man? One of the coolest things about Matt, though, is he's just a normal guy. Yes, he likes Sonic the Hedgehog a lot and has a dedicated channel to him, but he has children. He's a married man. He has a job that's not YouTube. He didn't even start making money off of his content until 2013, with a channel that started in 2006, let me remind you. One of the hard things of being a full-time Sonic tuber, or just a YouTuber in general, is that when it becomes a job, it starts to feel and look like a business. You're now making videos to maximize your profits and view margins. The channel that was birthed from a genuine passion and gave you that following starts to kind of lose that genuine passion, but that's never been the case with Sonic Toast to this very day. He's just enormously in love and dedicated to these characters that meant a lot to him. That's how you get the Yay Super Smash Bros. Series, which is one of my favorite ways to keep up with that game before its release on Wii U. Daily Toast was like a tradition before I went to school every morning. The series was incredibly taxing on him, having to record at least a week's worth of videos after he put his kids to bed and then before he went to bed himself for work in the morning. He could have very well gave up on this, but he didn't because he cares. To this day, he still makes videos primarily about merchandise. While there hasn't been a stop motion video in quite some time and he gets asked when a new one is coming out frequently, I can almost guarantee that passion isn't gone from Sonic Toast. He might just want to explore his passion of collecting and reviewing merchandise and raise his kids, and then once when they go off to college, he might have that extra time on his hands to restart that passion. I think it's honestly beautiful that the first ever Sonic YouTuber is Sonic Toast, the pioneer for so many different content variations around Sonic, a genuine Sonic fan who has a genuine love for the character. He's never gone corporate, he's never done content solely for views, but most importantly, he's a good human being. I wanted to give the full story of Sonic Toast off the bat, just so you guys know where all of this got started, and properly giving Sonic Toast his flowers. The rest of this video, however, is going to be in timeline order, meaning we'll talk about significant creators when they pop up, and significant events that happen with their channel content as they transpire throughout history. So let's rewind back to 2008, because a whole universe was born. One of the most respected and talked about Sonic YouTubers to this day, Cybershell, got his start in 2008. Another trailblazer, kind of kickstarting the Sonic the Hedgehog Let's Play trend, but Cybershell always had a different style of Let's Play to this day that you don't really see anymore. The videos, which remember in 2008 were incredibly highly edited, which actually is still surprising to see to this day, as not a lot of videos are even this well edited nowadays for Sonic. Introductions to each level, Badniks getting their own Kunto meter. The videos were fun, man, and a lot of time with Let's Plays, they aren't necessarily timeless, but I feel like today in 2025, you could go back to watching these original 2008 Let's Plays of these classic Sonic games and still find genuine enjoyment out of them. Around this time as well, dub content was becoming very popular on YouTube, where people would do voiceover work over cartoons or movies or video game cutscenes, and in this case, Sonic the Hedgehog cutscenes. This is where creators like Shadow759 and Sonic Song 182 got their start. If Sonic Toast is the Christopher Columbus of Sonic YouTube, Sonic Song 182 is at least the George Washington of Sonic Plush YouTube. The channel was initially created to host one particular video which they weren't the most proud of, which was a Sonic rendition of the Wicked musical, but their plush content took off in comparison, going on to create fully voice-acted and scripted out stories featuring different Sonic characters using plushes. This not only was revolutionary for the time, but is still revolutionary to this day. The majority of plush content you see on YouTube nowadays, as someone who operated in this sphere or knows people who do, a lot of this stuff simply just comes off the cuff. But all the way back then, hiring voice actors, writing complete scripts, having shot composition, it's still impressive in 2025, which says a lot. Yes, it is very much so a product of its time, but it is still impressive. Another plush creator who I think we can go ahead and tell the entire story about right here because there's not too much history, but is still important to the Sonic community, is Spin-Pro. He was an active creator from 2009 up until 2015, although he did make a brief comeback in 2020. The amazing Sonic plush adventures Vhaotic, which utilizes custom Vhaotic plushies, and is just overall really well made. We haven't seen him again since, and I don't know if we ever will, but this guy played a massive role in the creation of Sonic plush content. Some of the most iconic Sonic plush videos on YouTube were created by him. I believe he was the first person to coin the name Sonic Plush Adventures, which, spoiler alert, is something I would go on to use unknowingly, which featured a variety of different stories, whether it was Sonic and friends going to the beach, Sonic and Amy, oh my gosh, them going on vacation, doing spoofs, little shorts that had the wisps in it, which is the most popular video on the channel. These videos are childhood right here. I believe he might be the originator of the dumb Knuckles character type. Seems like every plush tuber does that nowadays, including Sega. Sonic plush YouTube was really getting its start around this time. I also want to give a big shout out to Rosie the Rascal 15. He came much later down the road than a lot of other creators we're about to get to, but we won't be talking about plush creators after this point until we get to the modern day. So there's not really a Sonic plush tuber Mount Rushmore, more of a Sonic plush YouTuber big three. Not only some of the biggest Sonic videos on YouTube, but some of the biggest Sonic plush videos. These videos kinda had an edge to them, a chaotic energy I can't describe. It is pure early 2010s internet humor at its finest. I think him putting himself in the videos like as himself was such a unique choice that really separated himself from other Sonic plush content creators. He's still active to this day, but channel is low-key in the gutter. He quit Sonic plush YouTube at his prime, which was such a strange and crazy decision, but honestly really respectable. He wanted to move on to different things, make different kind of videos and content, and just kind of lost his passion for making Sonic plush videos, which is completely fair. But the reason I bring all three of these channels up back to back, not only did Sonic Song and Spin-Pro release relatively close to each other, is I don't think you would have any of the Sonic plush content you have on YouTube nowadays without these three individuals. Well, Sonic Song is a team, but you get it. Animation content also started to explode around this time with Sonic, but not just your normal 2D animation or even 3D animation. We're talking stop motion animation. Maybe even more than Sonic Toast. When it comes to Sonic stop motion on YouTube, the name that probably comes to mind is PipLupFan77. PipLupFan77 was a channel created by Stephen Clayton in January of 2009, starting off with reviews of stuff like Sonic Unleashed or recent figures that were released by Jazzwares. And you can clearly tell at the time of a release, he was just a baby, getting started on YouTube very young, but he really hit his stride when he started making stop motion animations, or should I say, quote unquote stop motion animations. His very first stop motion, which was called Sonic Adventure 2 Green Forest Stop Motion, is really just videos and a collection of pictures recreating the scene from Sonic Adventure 2 and, well, Green Forest. But Steven fell in love with this medium of storytelling. He was actively watching the releases of Sonic Toast and wanted to have his own stop motion series, which created Sonic Stop Motion Adventures Episode 1 Quest for the Chaos Emeralds. If any of you guys are familiar at all with PipLupFan77's channel, if there was like a Sonic YouTube holy trinity, this series would be in it. I loved Sonic Toast, but PipLupFan77, this channel was my bread and butter. I loved this series so much. Before I even became a large Sonic content creator, I reviewed the entire series. Don't get me wrong, these first episodes are rough, but there's just so much of that early YouTube charm I love so much. Another stop motion creator, SpeedSuperSonic would also get a start around this time. He mainly started off by doing a lot of mini stop motion tests, as well as some collection videos, which I was enamored by. Remember, when you're a kid and only have 2 action figures and 1 plush, this is like a museum to you. Shout out to the Sonic Toast collection videos too, those were fire. Not to be a complete dickhead, but SpeedSuperSonic Boom's animation was far better than PipLupFan's at the time, so it's kind of crazy that these weren't as big. Don't get me wrong, he would go on to have some hits, especially with the Sonic Chronicles series, but I don't know, this is the closest that I think any Sonic stop motion YouTuber came to kind of quote unquote replicating the Sonic Toast style. His channel wasn't the most consistent, but when he dropped a banger. He has a clear knack for stop motion, and even even incorporate that style into non-stop motion videos like reviews and stuff. Despite the channel having 175,000 subscribers, I think this channel is incredibly underrated in the community and doesn't get talked about quite enough. But it wasn't just stop motion animation. General animation like 2D and 3D was also having a big boom around this time, with some massive creators that are still around today. A little channel called Sonic Paradox would upload their first volume of Sonic Shorts. These without a doubt are some of the most iconic Sonic videos on YouTube. If you guys aren't aware of what Sonic Shorts is, well, they're a collection of different animated Sonic shorts. They're incredibly insider baseball, so if you're not a Sonic fan, chances are you won't find these particularly funny. But I remember seeing screenings that they would play of Sonic Shorts episodes at Summer of Sonic, which was an event that was held in London in the 2010s, which is something I was dying to go to as a kid. Only time I'd ever want to step in the UK. The channel operates in quality over quantity, with there still to this day only being 95 uploads despite the channel being created in 2009. This channel is still active to this day, releasing a bunch of brand new animated content all the time, which is great to see. Sonic Shorts had volume 10 released not too long ago. It's just really cool to see how far this channel has come and staying true to themselves all these years later. The definition of a love letter to this franchise, but they're not the only animation YouTubers to come out around this time. A little channel named Baylina Productions popped out around this time as well, with some absolute classics. A lot of 3D animations, if you want to call it that. I believe these were all made in Gary's mod, just kind of putting the Sonic characters in random environments, but I loved it. My personal favorite ironically being his biggest video, Sonic and Jaws. Me and my friends I feel like watch this on repeat every sleepover. Also, Sonic Zombies. I feel like if you're a dumb PP brain Sonic fan back in the day, this was your stuff. I remember the creator of Baylina Productions, Steven, hated this thing because of how much attention it got in comparison to a lot of the other animations, but I'm not gonna lie, I was definitely a part of the problem. I loved this series. The aforementioned Shadow759 was starting to do more animated stuff. This was like the big bang of Sonic YouTube. A lot of quintessential creators arrived on the platform and opened the door for so many different kinds of videos like plush, 3D animation, 2D animation, stop motion animation. Can't forget the AMVs. But let's look at that term again, Sonic YouTube. There wasn't really a creator in the community yet who I kind of felt was a voice for everyone. There was a lot of great content coming out, but a majority of it was storytelling based. Discussion, opinionated videos, reviews was largely missing from the platform, or at least from Sonic tubers. I do want to give shoutouts to two particular creators who I wouldn't consider Sonic tubers, but definitely cross-pollinated with the community more than your average YouTuber. That is Some Call Me Johnny and Clement J64. Their reviews of various different Sonic games were so entertaining to me and so well done around that time. Particularly Clement J64's review of Sonic the Hedgehog 2006, which for those of you who don't know, ran for over 6 hours long. I genuinely didn't know it was that long until I saw this compilation because I was trying to find it and it turns out he deleted it due to him not liking the video anymore. Like, I understand 06 is the GOAT and this was an L take, but you didn't have to take the video down, it was still well made. Anyways, let me slow down with giving out all these flowers. I feel like I'm at a wedding. We're gonna marinate on this next person because I don't think that there's ever been, or potentially ever will be, a creator as loved and cherished as this one. And I think it's beautiful that this person arrived on the YouTube platform at the turn of the decade, because they would go on to define this next decade for Sonic on YouTube.
Hey, what's up everyone? KobanRonnie456 here.
But seriously, did anyone else see Sonic Dash there?
You wouldn't be watching me right now if it wasn't for this nigga, you know? Like, I'm just being real right now, bro. Like, this nigga helped me, bro. He saved me!
KobanRonnie456, to many people, probably an overwhelming majority in the fan base, is considered the GOAT. And before anybody tries to claim that he was just another Let's Player and wasn't really a Sonic tuber and dabbled in some Nintendo franchises from time to time, his first videos were about Sonic, a majority of his content was about Sonic, and despite a majority of his most popular videos being about Mario, everybody who knows about Kobe knows that Sonic meant more to this guy than anything. There was a earnestness here. There was a pure soul who you could tell just loved what he was doing. Don't get me wrong, these early Let's Plays are rough, but he was on a grind. He was gonna camcord the out of those TVs in his Nintendo 3DS. He was gonna be somebody, goddammit, and he eventually got somewhere. During his walkthrough of Sonic Generations, he hit 3,000 subscribers after releasing well over 100 videos. This didn't come easy to Kobe, it took time. He was recording update videos in a bathroom.
Anyway, the whore who did this is some French whore. In Sega Europe Limited.
Jesus Christ, Kobe. He had over 1,000 videos before he even hit 40,000 subscribers. People don't remember how long the recording the TV era went on for, before, but he eventually got a capture card. His channel grew, eventually becoming one of the most watched and loved Sonic content creators on YouTube, thanks to his skill as a Let's Player and his commentary featuring the iconic line, "Skadoosh." He was making friends that helped him out with his content, including one that would also go on to make a massive splash in the Sonic community. Tails' channel is just a brand at this point, but it didn't start off that way. Tails' channel is an interesting story, mainly on how it got started. Believe it or not, Tails' channel was essentially a sister channel to an existing Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube channel called Sonic's Channel. Jesus, take a shot every time I said channel. It was created by a man named Michael Hunter, and it was your typical Sonic YouTube affair from around that time. Let's plays, random gameplay videos, he brought on a lot of guests, was even able to secure interviews with Sonic voice actors like Roger Craig Smith and Mike Pollock, and eventually created another channel called Tails' Channel. It was given to a young boy at the time named Matt Mannheimer. Michael essentially operated as the Sonic to Matt's Tails, helping him out through his early YouTube adventures, which consisted of a lot of Let's Plays as well. He left the channel for a little bit because he had to go to camp, which is just so cute, I'm sorry. Like, I just imagine him recording the voiceover for this video looking like this. Michael was essentially there just to do some collabs, and whenever Matt would go on vacation to like Disney World, he'd update the fans and let them know about what was going on. I'm sure many of you guys are curious about Sonic's channel and where it is today, and when you look at it, it looks like this. Not only is it not called Sonic's channel anymore, you can see that the channel never really got across the 60,000 subscriber mark. It was a decent success of a Sonic channel, I'd say. Being able to make all those connections with people associated with Sonic, whether it be community figures or people literally voicing the characters, it was quite impressive, but he seemed kind of determined to get off this channel at numerous points, which is completely fair. He had a passion for other video game franchises and found a love for voice acting and wanted to focus more on that rather than exclusively talking about Sonic the Hedgehog all the time. He did have a series called Sonic Plays, which I'm sure a lot of you guys might remember. He would just play a game pretending to be Sonic, and I'm not gonna lie, this is not my kind of content, but I liked it as a kid. I wish he kept up with it, but with the creation of games and Wario, Mario's channel, Michael's channel, all this different stuff, it was quite clear he was looking to get off of Sonic YouTube, and he eventually did, handing the channel off to a crew called 1UP TV Games, which the channel would go on to be helmed by, rebranded to, and die with, as Sonic's channel hasn't been active in 7 years, with their last content being Let's Plays of Super Mario Odyssey. But Tails' channel is a completely different story, eventually finding its niche in news content. Kobanomani456 was already dominating the Let's Play sphere, especially around Sonic content. I would not be surprised at all if Matt was becoming fatigued with the Let's Play format, as it was just really a giant trend on YouTube around the time, which Kobanomani456 took and ran with. Speaking of Kobe, around this time he fell in love with the Sonic Generations mod community, showcasing mods with different characters and levels. It was awesome, especially as someone who didn't have access to this kind of stuff with a PC. This was my only way to see stuff like this. In fact, I think a lot of people in the Sonic community's favorite content from Kobe was his mod showcases. This is truly where I think Kobe became properly comfortable doing YouTube. He also started dropping a lot of news videos about Sonic Lost World during its pre-release, and I'm not gonna lie, this is where I stayed tapped in for my Sonic Lost World news. You could just feel how excited he was for this game, and this dude was the #1 Sonic Lost World defender. Does anybody remember the IGN beef? Or one-sided IGN beef. If somebody watching this video right now thinks that they're the #1 Sonic Lost World fan in the world, I'm sorry, Kobanomani456 is. This is really where I think the Sonic YouTube you see today really got started. But other channels were popping out around this time too that I loved, like the Sonic Show and Steven Nux. Now I'm sure a lot of you guys might be saying, the Sonic Show? You mean the little raccoon? Kinda. It's the same channel, but it was ran by a completely different team of people back in the day. In fact, it kind of operated as an extension to the Sonic Stadium website, which has been very long running. It was definitely a variety channel, uploading really anything in relation to the Sonic franchise. I was particularly a fan of their top 10 lists. I thought those were great. When they'd have the Canadians do videos, they would do some skits. I love that. And maybe my favorite series from them, T vs. T, an underrated gem. I can't believe this only ran for like a few seasons. Actually, I can believe it because nobody watched it, but I liked it. Yeah, Sonic Show in this form would go on for a good few years. We'll talk about the transition later. Now, let's talk about maybe the most underrated Sonic YouTuber of all time, Steven Nux, like I mentioned. This guy is a king. I discovered him through his My Opinions on Sonic voice actor series, which he was ruthless. He just dug into these people, and the Sonic voice actor discussion was maybe the most prevalent in the fan base around this time. Heck, it still kind of is today. He made these obviously not thinking that voice actors were actually gonna see them, because back in the day they seemed like gods to us. They're not, they're just people. But like so many of them did and made comments on his videos, and he had to backtrack at a later point.
I had nothing against Manuel as a person. A lot of you thought I did. But again, I would probably have dinner with this woman.
Oh my god, my bro spitting game! Just a very level-headed guy, made a lot of content with a bunch of different creators, which was super cool to see. My man is just a goat. But the dark times for Sonic meant the dark times for Sonic YouTube. But don't get me wrong, Tails channel hit their stride around the Sonic Boom pre-release era. Matt kept me fed like a goose. Is that even a saying? But the pre-Sonic Boom era was really fun for Sonic YouTube, particularly with Kobe and Tails channel. The constant discussion and sneak peeks into it was so fun. Around this time, a lot of smaller Sonic YouTubers would go on to create a collective channel called Sonic Central. Members include the aforementioned Steven Nux, Blue Rush 1992, Blue Spin Dash, The British Sonic, Velkamia, Radioactive Raw SNG, The Smart MM Gaming, and Adam AFD. The goal of the channel is to upload Sonic content every day, whether it be mod showcases, let's plays, news updates, whatever it might be. It was a smart idea, but this channel was a bomb. Running in its state for around 2 years, which is impressive, but a lot of members left before then, such as Steven Nux and Blue Spin Dash, with Emmy Jones actually taking Blue Spin Dash's place for a brief period of time. Emmy Jones intermission time. Emmy Jones is quite the infamous figure in the Sonic community. She's mainly known for her covers and her work on a Sonic radio drama named Sonic and Tails R, which features a lot of longtime Sonic voice actors like Ryan Drummond, Mike Pollock, etc. She's known for doing other things with Ryan Drummond too. Fun fact, her and her team had me almost kicked out of a Sonic convention. This was me realizing I did not belong here. I'd give you more details, but to this day, nobody understands why. I've never interacted with this individual. She's also 10 years older than me, which makes this one-sided beef really weird. It's nothing but love though on these parts. I'm sure she's a great person, and Sonic and Tails R was a genius idea. Being one of the largest women in the community and some stuff in her past that is memeable, it's led to a lot of straight-up harassment going her way from a lot of the community, which if we're being completely honest is a direct result of her being a woman. Regardless of any valid criticism against past actions, a lot of hate and harassment that goes her way is amplified in comparison to someone like Fidel, for instance. We'll get to him, due to the misogyny within the community. By no means am I trying to say that the entire Sonic community is misogynistic, because that is clearly not the case. The result of what happened at Sonic Revolution 2023 by no means justified any hate, harassment, or misogyny towards her, and that still applies with me making fun of the events in retrospect. The Sonic community at large can often feel like a boys' club. In the history of the community, the largest figures to this day have been men, and whether purposeful or not, the treatment towards a lot of the most prominent women in the community has been disgusting. I'd say in the history of Sonic the Hedgehog YouTube, Emmy is the most prominent, and it's kind of sad that despite all her achievements, I have to talk about her significantly differently than I do anybody else in the rest of this video. So I strongly encourage, with Emmy or any other woman that comes along later down the line and creates an empire on Sonic YouTube, that you treat them with the same love, compassion, and fairness that you would any other Sonic creator on the platform. Anyways, back to Sonic Central, I just think they got into the game at the wrong time. With Sonic fan morale being at an all-time low after the release of the Sonic Boom games, the channel would eventually get handed over to Velkamia and turn into a non-commentary gaming channel, which is probably what you know Sonic Central as today, one of the biggest Sonic channels on the platform. This would happen alongside the rise of a lot of other non-commentary Sonic YouTubers, and I know there are a lot of fans of this style of content, but with it being non-commentary personality based, it's never stuff I really watched. So to all the non-commentary Sonic YouTube video fans, I'm sorry. But yeah, people not only getting older, but the Sonic franchise being in the state it was contributed towards the reason why Sonic Central didn't work out in its first incarnation. Not only could you feel this coming off of the members of Sonic Central, you could feel this all around the Sonic community. Kabanamani456, Tails channel, everyone. Everything just seemed a little more dour surrounding Sonic, and it wasn't really fun. This is where the Sonic drought of 2015 began, and kind of where the doom posting began with the Sonic YouTube community. A lot of videos started popping up about the Sonic drought, and is Sonic in another dark age? Videos about the Sonic fanbase in general, even Kobe got in on it. But still being my little ray of sunshine, I love him. But things would start to take a turn in the summer of 2017. The Sonic 25th anniversary party would occur in San Diego, which 2 new games which would go on to become Sonic Mania and Sonic Forces would be announced, and this would essentially be a lightning bolt that would shoot through the Sonic fanbase, creating a crop of new creators. From you to Remy, Twip, and Sam Procrastinates. This is where the news discussion reaction based Sonic content really hit its stride. So much was changing around the crop of older creators that it was time for some new people to come in and shake some things up. Especially because around this time, Matt from Tails channel would go on to get a job at Sega of America as their social media intern for Sonic the Hedgehog. And after around a year, he would go on to leave Tails channel as a whole, handing the channel over to a man by the name of Ryan Scarlett, who would run the channel behind the scenes, and essentially turn Tails channel from a YouTube channel into a massive brand, meant to be a news hub for all things Sonic, and would hire a brand new host for the YouTube channel, Mardiculous, a relatively underground Sonic the Hedgehog YouTuber at the time, but was one of my favorite Sonic channels to watch during the drought era. era. Didn't make a lot of content whatsoever, but when he did, I enjoyed his level-headed approach to everything. I like a creator with a good head on his shoulders. So now Tails' channel kind of operated as the grandfather of Sonic YouTube, with a lot of new channels popping up under it, taking the place of those who were leaving and also weren't quite as active. A lot of people part of the Sonic Central crowd were dipping out like Steven Nux and Blue Spin Dash, and the most heartbreaking to me, despite running for a long time and being relatively consistent, PlutoFan77 eventually brought an end to his Sonic stop-motion adventure series, concluding his channel as a whole with maybe the most satisfying end to any Sonic YouTube channel in history. Still to this day considered one of, if not, the greatest Sonic content creator of all time. This is still a hole I don't feel has been entirely filled by Sonic on YouTube. Like, with all due respect to Sonic David, like, we're not gonna argue that this is on the level of Sonic stop-motion adventures, right? I do want to give two genuine shoutouts to Lifeline the Hedgehog and Boostifer, who I do think have made some pretty great Sonic stop-motion stuff in the meantime. If you're having a modern Sonic stop-motion craving, go check out Lifeline the Hedgehog's 30th anniversary stop-motion video. Probably some of the best Sonic stuff on YouTube in a long time. But with all of these creators leaving, all of these Sonic adventures ending, the question goes to, where's Kobe? For the longest time, his last video was a part 2 in his Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze Let's Play, but after that he would go radio silent. He would eventually reveal that he was checked into a mental health facility for suicidal ideations and plans. He was eventually diagnosed with autism spectrum with Asperger's. He would go on to say that he was planning to do a playthrough of Sonic Mania Plus, but decided not to go through with it, and his days of being a YouTuber were essentially over, and thanked everybody for their time. He would eventually update people with some drawings that he was doing on his iPad, but after the short but formal goodbye, it was really nothing. I'm sure a lot of you guys are confused because this is quite sudden. Well, a lot of dark stuff was going on in Kobe's life behind the scenes, as a lot of these details would be released in a now deleted video featuring none other than Kobe himself and Etika, detailing the emotional and financial abuse that Kobe was suffering at the hands of one of their YouTube colleagues, Rakib Marvelous. This significantly affected Kobe. On top of that, he was also in the middle of a relationship with a woman by the name of Katie Hartwell, more so a one-sided relationship. He would essentially go on to harass, stalk, and find any way possible to get in communication with this woman after she expressed desires no longer to speak to him. All of this is detailed in a very extensive article on Medium. I will have it linked below so you guys can check that out for yourself. This is not a Kobanamani 456 retrospective, but this is a crucial point in Kobe's story, and Katie's story shouldn't be overlooked or invalidated. Kobe would remain silent about this as he was not active on social media whatsoever. On top of all of this, his aforementioned friend Etika passed away. The story of Etika is of course deserving of his own video, but from everything I was able to consume about these two, they were more than just friends. They were brothers. Etika on numerous occasions said that Kobe saved his life. So once when Etika eventually passed, I don't think it would be insensitive to assume that it affected Kobe significantly. If you go to Kobanamani456 YouTube channel right now, you will see a graveyard of manic and cryptic videos on top of a slew of community posts detailing his mental state and whatever is really on his mind. A former YouTube channel description read, "My family hoed me out over money. I have schizophrenia, clinical depression, autism spectrum disorder, bipolar disorder, ruminating thoughts, and suicidal ideations. I refuse to live and don't want to live anymore. My family killed me. My mom manipulating over 6 figures out of me. Her boyfriend did the same. He owes me well over $50,000. My sister Columbia hoed me out for $20,000. My mom's boyfriend name is Benny Benjamin Ferris and his daughters are Benika and Summer are My family hoed me out over money and they killed me. Because of this, I will No one is going to stop me this time. I'm going to do it, and I hate my family. I hate living. I hate breathing. I will never attain happiness. I refuse to live any longer in a world like this. My icon is Aaron, because I hate everybody and everything in this world. You cannot convince me that I'll ever be happy. My family and friends are the ones who killed me. Sunny called me a I'm done with life." Like I said, that was a former description. He has a new one that is just as insane, but the former gives you a better understanding of where his mental state is. Not good. He hasn't interacted with his channel in 10 months, with him asking his audience if they want to buy first 4-figure statues from him. This is because he needed the money due to an emergency that occurred a few months beforehand. I'm giving so much detail to Kobanamani 456's entire story, and particularly his end, because I think it's quite sad that the largest Sonic the Hedgehog YouTuber of all time reached an end this bad. Koban, not just Kobe or Kobanamani456, was a massive part of mine, and I'm assuming many of yours childhoods. And I don't want to dwell on this sad ending. I will continue to cherish the memories of watching his videos when I was a child. But most importantly, I will continue to pray for Koban the human being, and that he has found or either will find peace, happiness, and purpose in his life. Koban, if you're seeing this, I wish you nothing but the best. So where did the community go from here? Well, entering the 2020s, we really had a revamped Tails channel, Sam Procrastinates, Premi de Remy, Twip. The Sonic Show was recently given over to a young man named Jaden, and while yes, we still had some community veterans like Baylina Productions and Sonic Paradox still around, it felt like a lot of creators' interest in the franchise was holding on by a thread. Not only was the lack of presence that Kobe left felt, but also all the other loved creators who were gone as well. I failed to mention that Cybershell went missing there for a good period of time, as he tends to do. This is where we arrive at the point in the story where this little kid right here felt that lack of presence and wanted to do something about it. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, I've been here the entire time. Disclaimer, yes, I'm going to highlight myself in my own damn video. SpeedSuperSonic, oh, it's so weird talking about myself like that, but properly burst onto the community in 2020. But what many of you guys might not know is I was already on the platform for 7 years prior. Now, it wasn't like I was grinding trying to become the next big Sonic YouTuber. I was 10 years old. I was just uploading random bullshit. But some of these videos had some pop to them, I guess. I don't know why anybody would want to watch Sonic Plush Adventures Just Go to Sleep Amy 2. Why the f does this have almost 500,000 views? I eventually discovered how to make thumbnails. They don't really look the best, but you know, I was just really uploading whatever. Plush videos, collection stuff, action figure reviews, you know, the kind of stuff that you do before you hit puberty. But then I hit puberty and was like, I don't know if I like doing YouTube anymore, but some of my videos were bangers. There was always kind of a hope for me that because some of these videos blew up, that I'd at least be able to gain a consistent audience who watches my videos. I was approaching my final years of high school, and I kind of felt weird going out into public holding a Sonic plushie. By the way, speaking of me holding a plushie as an adult, this claim from Emmy Jones that I was walking around Burbank, California carrying a Sonic plush is completely false information. I don't know where the f this came from. No beef though, Emmy. Hope you're doing good. I was really ready to wrap it up, but then COVID hit. More importantly than that though, the first Sonic movie was about to come out. Something I love even more than Sonic is movies. So putting Sonic and movies together, heaven on earth for me. I think people enjoyed a Sonic fan's perspective who was also a movie enjoyer and knew how the film industry worked. I remember watching creators talk about the movie and being infuriated with them not knowing what the f they're talking about. So there's two things that you guys get to thank for having a SpeedSuperSonic. That's Jeff Fowler and Coronavirus. I just love talking about Sonic, which is kind of how you got this format of videos. Is that the guy who has all the Sonic merchandise behind him? But I also spiced things up. I did some more collection videos and video essays talking about merchandise. I always wanted to offer more than just one specific niche to the Sonic platform, and something that I created that I knew nobody else would be able to offer in the same way was Sonic Merch Hunt. This is still my favorite stuff to make on the channel. Don't talk about how long it's been since the last episode. I've been so happy to see other people take cracks at doing this type of style. If you guys could change the name of your series though, Jesus, that's my thing. I'm looking at you, Super Shadow Adventures. I'm just kidding. I like your stuff. I think the mistake a lot of people make when they try to do a Sonic Merch Hunt is they do it solo dolo. You can't do that. You need a cameraman for this kind of video. I tried to treat the videos like old Nelk or Gideon stuff, but without all the public harassment. Only harass Mario plushies. Now I should clarify, this video 100% stemmed from a tweet I made talking about a Sonic tuber Mount Rushmore, or specifically two. One being the creators I would actually put on a Sonic YouTuber Mount Rushmore, and the other one being because I wanted to put myself on one, because why the f wouldn't I? I think it's important to note that this new trend of Mount Rushmores is f***ing stupid. Like who you like, this is all subjective. PivotFan77 is my favorite out of anybody on this list. I didn't even put him on it, and because Sonic Twitter hates my guts. You know, some of these people genuinely want to see me dead. There's been a lot of comments of, ain't no way bro just put himself on here. I'm about to play a clip right now that might ruin the entire integrity of this 40-minute video, but these words from a person who I no longer share the ideologies of still rings true to me.
My mother made me believe in myself. No matter how many people tell me, stop believing in yourself. Stop saying what you can do. Stop affirming what you're gonna do and then completing that in real life. That's the improper way to do it. I refuse to follow those rules rules that society has set up in the way that they control people with low self-esteem.
I'm preparing for the tweet of bro used a Kanye clip in 2025. This person replied to it saying, "Not gonna lie, you show how huge your ego really is with putting yourself on it so casually. Not only after you receive massive backlash, also, where is Sonic Show? Doesn't he have like over 100,000 subscribers?" First of all, subscribers barely plays a role into any of this. Sam has the least amount of subscribers out of anybody on this list, and you're not gonna see a whole lot of people arguing against him being on here. Secondly, why wouldn't I be proud of the content that I have made? I have amassed over 80,000 YouTube subscribers, have made hundreds of videos that have done quite well for a consistently long amount of time. I've popularized an entire style of Sonic content on YouTube, and I am one of the most well-known figures in the community. This is not ego, this is fact and being proud of what you have created. The idea of downplaying your accomplishments is like disgusting to me. It's especially weird when people agree that I should be on a modern Sonic YouTuber Mount Rushmore and proceed to say that I shouldn't put myself on it though. Like, this isn't an objective list. If Unleash made a Sonic tuber Mount Rushmore, he has every right to put himself on it. And a majority of this backlash is simply because I didn't include their favorite Sonic YouTuber, who we'll get to, don't worry. Moral of the story, if you're an aspiring Sonic YouTuber, be proud of what you make and f what anyone else has to say. I could stroke my wiener all day, but I've been doing it for a while now, so I think it's time for us to start handing out some more flowers to the more recent creators. Regardless of what you may think of their content or personalities, Remy to Remy and Twip kind of paved the way for Sonic news content on YouTube for the next generation. Like I said, these two mainly got their start in the pre-release of Sonic Forces, and while Twip's channel is and Premi seems to maybe be at the end of his road, we gotta show some love to what they gave us. Specifically Premi, who I chose to include on that stupid little Mount Rushmore because of how much he's meant to the community. I know there's a lot of divisiveness around him and his name, but regardless of what you may think of his takes or opinions or how he carries himself, he gave us something to talk about. He offers opinion, he offers the divisiveness to where there wouldn't be conversation otherwise. I think that can be appreciated. I appreciate Premi for the years of content that he gave us, and I wish him nothing but the best, whether it's on or off YouTube. Chalmix is the modern GOAT. I love Chalmix. I've loved Chalmix ever since he started making content. He's never deterred from what made him who he is. He deserves everything that has come to him, and I can't wait to see where he goes in the future. Despite him being active for almost half a decade, there's not a lot of history or controversy to go over with Chalmix. Just go check out his content if you haven't already, and go support his game. Next up is a creator that's been tossed around in this video a few times, and that's Sam Procrastinates. People love Sam. Didn't for a little bit, but he did a good job of cleaning that up. And you know what? I like Sam. Does Sam like me? Probably not. We had a brief interaction this year because people started to assume that I was the reason why he got bullied into removing his video where he cried over the Knuckles show. It wasn't me. I don't know where the f that came from. I've barely interacted with Sam since I was a minor. Yeah, there's a secret SpeedSuperSonic Sam Procrastinates crossover that nobody knows about. I was like 16 when this came out. Jesus Christ, time flies. He's mainly a live streamer now, kind of the YouTube Fidel. We'll get to him, calm down. So I haven't really been tapped in with him for a while. Not anything against him, I just don't watch any live streams. I can barely get through my own. But people fell in love with Sam for his wholesome fun energy, his level-headed approach to Sonic discussion, and his wacky little reactions like, "Yes, Sam, it is 8 in the morning." He's worked with Matt Mannheimer's company, Strategy Guide, to work on official Sonic projects, which has been super cool. I think that's important to show young Sonic fans that if you love something enough and you work hard enough, they'll be able to accomplish their dreams of working on their favorite franchise too. So Sam, if you're watching this, I know you are. You text me back, I've been waiting a few years. Alright, before we get to the big boy that everyone's waiting for, I figured that I would do a lightning round of a bunch of different creators who are still active in the community that I greatly enjoy, who haven't been mentioned thus far. Game apologists, we need more Sonic comic content creators. He's amazing, he's a level-headed guy, I love his commentary, and he seems like a nice human being whenever I've interacted with him. Sonic Stud, not as active as he used to be, but whenever he pops out, he offers some good commentary and is also the sweetest human being in the world. Matt Has No Cuts, also not the most consistent content creator anymore, but he decided that he wanted a life, so he does stuff outside of YouTube. I enjoy his commentary and his stuff is well made, so go check that out whenever you can. SF Productions has been blowing up a lot recently. It's kind of a half Sonic, half Mario channel, but when he does talk about Sonic, it's just very nice to hear somebody opinionated and not afraid of holding back their, well, opinions. Well edited, enjoy the commentary, go check him out. Also shout out to my Pookie Bear Supersonic Blake, I love you. Okay. Let's do this. Games Cage. Oh, I've had my run-in with Games Cage. It was literally the most wholesome interaction ever. He seems like a sweetheart. My inner 12-year-old decided to tweet out, "Oh, I love Kobe. I miss Kobe. No one will ever touch my Kobe." And then he was like, no? Fidel is much bigger than just a YouTuber or a Sonic tuber. Not only does his channel feature other stuff outside of Sonic quite frequently, but he has a much larger following on Twitch and Twitter, which has helped transition over into a YouTube career. Something I need when I go to Sonic videos is people knowing what they're talking about, and that is exactly what Fidel offers. He is quite clearly a Sonic fan, quite clearly impassioned. I really enjoy Sonic discussions. Like I said, I like his perspective, but this dude is just such a big personality. I would love to see some content from him outside of just his room. Do some vlog content, bring yourself to the real world and incorporate Sonic into it. I think that'd be very fun. It's nice to see a community of people love somebody so much. He seems like a genuinely nice guy. He's owned up to his mistakes. Remember, I don't know these people, so it's probably not smart to assume he could kill puppies for all I know, but I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that I think Fidel is a good guy, but I'm really excited to see where he goes with his content in the future. And that's kind of where the state of the Sonic YouTube scene is right now. It's kind of crazy looking back on all this history, essentially a massive part of my childhood, and the fact that I'm a part of that history and can be mentioned in the same sentence at least as some of these creators is the biggest honor in the world. If somehow any of you guys are watching this video, I just want to say thank you. I wouldn't have a life if it wasn't for you guys. I touched a little bit on this in the best scene in Sonic history video essay from a bit ago, but I was a very lonely kid. All I had really was Sonic, and that includes the content creators in the community. Whether it was a Kabanamani456 Let's Play, a PitLuffan77 stop motion, or a wacky episode of Sonic Zombies, I was always kept entertained, and I'll forever be thankful for that. And to everybody who's still making content, thank you. And keep it up, because you're making stuff for the next generation of Sonic fans. Or maybe another lonely kid that only has you. Thank you so much to Figgies for making this video possible. If you guys don't know what Figgies is, let me tell you. Figgies is the brand new collectible line from First 4 Figures, who you might know from making some of your favorite Sonic the Hedgehog statues. And just in case a few of those products were a little bit out of your price range, I can assure you these will be. Retailing for only $14.99. There's a range of different franchises that are working with, from video games to anime, and of course, Sonic the Hedgehog's in there. They come with collectible backgrounds and even the opportunity to get a gold, silver, or bronze background. There's a variety of ways that you can display them, whether you want to attach it to your wall via a sticky or its own collectible base, it's your choice. So now that I have the first wave of their Sonic the Hedgehog line, let's go ahead and take a look at who we got. First up, we have none other than Sonic himself. Here you can see Sonic in the beautiful packaging, and yes, we did indeed get the gold background. It's premium quality, as you can hear. This thing is sturdy. Next up, we have Tails, and he comes with a silver card. Next up, Knuckles, there it goes again. And to finish off, you have the bronze background for him as well. And lastly in the line, we have Metal Sonic. Absolutely freaking sick. Here's what they look like in the flesh. Absolutely amazing original art of Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, and Metal Sonic. And here's what they look like on their gold, silver, and bronze backgrounds. These are some of my favorite Sonic products to come out in a long time, and if you want the opportunity to get early access and 5% off, click my link in the description or the pinned comment and use my code to take advantage of this offer. Thank you so much again to First 4 Figures and Figgies for sponsoring this video.